Can I just say that social etiquette, like the rules to communication, is such a freaking ball ache. Like trying to work out what's the right and wrong ways to do things. People like, if you shouldn't double text if this, and double texting is that, you can't do this in that way at this time. And there's like all these rules. I don't know who wrote them. Genuinely, I feel like communicating with other human beings is more difficult than my entire degree was. Honestly, my degree required less energy from me. Like, it's just too much. It's just too much. And who wrote all these rules anyway? Who decided? This is the thing about social rules. And the thing is, I wouldn't even care as much if it wasn't for the fact that people act so shocked when you don't know. And it's like, well, where even is the rule book? Where was this in the coming into adulthood social rules? If anybody knows that book, go and actually don't bother sending it to me, because I'm not adhering to these social rules. I just think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. Like, if somebody wants to message me whenever you want, however you want. A small message, a long message, lots of small ones, a big one, I don't care. Like, I'll respond when I can, you respond when you can. Like, where are all these rules? It's just, these are just the things about us being humans, where people act as if all these things are so normal. And if you're like not with it, then you're the abnormal one. But what I think is abnormal and like illogical is just following a bunch of rules that came from nowhere that actually make our life more difficult. Like, as if being an adult is not hard enough. As if there's not enough guidelines and things that we have to follow in this day and age, because we're all slaves to the freaking government and everything and everyone. Now, even just with that, like, honestly, I'm so grateful for the friends I've made in the last couple of years. Because, I don't know, I've just met people on my wavelength who are not like weird with all this stuff. And can I tell you, it's always the people who are contributing absolutely nothing beneficial to society. And in fact, usually the ones who are adding to the negatives, who are the ones who adhere to this type of stuff the most. They're the ones the most being able to keep up with it. I'm like, look, this isn't like when I was a teenager and I had all this time to be on my phone. Like, I've got things to do. You know what I mean? I don't have time to be figuring out the social cues and the social rules of everything. So yeah, it gives me it's such a freaking ball ache trying to keep up with, and I'm not going to try it anymore. If people are offended, that's their business, mate. I don't care. I don't know who wrote the rules, and the rules for me are quite illogical. It's like how people say a lot of things that they don't mean, and you're supposed to know that they don't mean them, or what they do mean. It's like, just say what you do mean. Just say what you do mean. You know what I mean? Like, but again, I feel like people are so desperate. One thing I've been realizing is that so much of all this stuff is that people are so desperate to want to have like relationships, companionship, all of this friendship, love and all of this, that we're all tiptoeing around everything because we're so scared that if we rock the boat in any way, we're going to potentially lose people. And now it's just turned us all into little wimps. Now we'd rather just, try not to do anything and try not to follow all these rules, because God forbid you lose the people in your life because you're a bit honest and they didn't like it. Or because it's like we want to be asked nothing of ourselves, but then we want everything from others. That's what I've realized is how people love in this world. That's why I say love don't live here. That's not how God's love works at all. But yeah, all these dumb societal cues, it's just like, and we wonder why people are so lonely. And we wonder why there's all this in the world, why we're like so connected online and yet disconnected. This is exactly why, because we're adhering to all this nonsense for no good reason. I don't know who's doing it. We all still push for it, even though it's clearly not helping anything. I don't get it. I hate it. That's why I like talking to God. I can talk freely. And, I can just, there's no rules and regulations that are in a rule book that hasn't even been written. I could just exist and just be. And also my new friends who I've made, I'm like, this is so refreshing. Enough of this. Oh, people be like, I haven't heard you in a while. This is one of my pet peeves. When somebody says they haven't heard from me in a while, or they're wondering where I am, but then when I talk to them, all they're doing is small talk. All it is, hey, how are you? How's work? How's this? And that's it. So I've just taken all this time out of my life, my very short time span on this planet, just to tell you that I'm okay and you say you're okay. And the conversation comes to an end. I've wasted my life. I've just wasted minutes of my life I'm never getting back. I'd rather stare at the wall. At least I'm doing something productive. It's helping me to think through things. Not just, I haven't heard from you in ages. I'm like, oh, wow, you're saying that, I haven't heard from you in ages. I'm thinking, we need to catch up or something. You have nothing to even say. So we're just talking. Like, this is what I'm saying. People actually do have time to waste. And we actually don't, because there's so many things going wrong. This is why some of us are stressed 24/7. Because meanwhile, I might seem like the distant one or the whatever, but I'm like actually trying to do stuff. And then the people who are like wondering where I am, acting as if it's so confusing as to why I'm not available. And it's like, yeah, but you're not doing anything to help. So that's why. And on top of it, when we have conversations, there's all these rules and regulations. And then when we are talking, you've not said anything about it. You haven't told me how you are. Like, I'm having a really good time at the moment. I've been having a really strong, productive week, stuff like that. Okay, cool. You're keeping me up to date with what's going on. Love that. But for us to just have, just empty small talk conversations about nothingness just so that you can say we spoke is a waste of my time. That's why I don't think I can do relationships for real, because I'm deeply unsuperficial. I'm the furthest thing from superficial. If I ask somebody how they are, I want to know how they are. If I message you to ask you how you are, that means I have the time to actually hear out whatever you have to say, and I'm focused. You know what I mean? When I respond to you, that means you have my undivided attention at that moment for me to literally listen. Because I've also realized a lot of people are not even listening anyway. We're doing all this talking, all this hanging out, people going out for dinners together, people going out on holidays together, like whether it's friendships or families. But at the end of the day, I feel like if it came down to it, a lot of people, it's not the case for everybody. Of course, there's a lot of situations where it's not. But a lot of them, it's like if you had to actually go and do like an exam on information about the person, the people you so-called are so close to, I reckon a lot of people would do way worse than they think they would. Because everybody's just doing it because everyone wants to feel something, right? They want to feel love, they want to feel compassion, they want to feel a part of a group. That's what I feel like drives so many people in life, is like that they feel like they have like some kind of community or something they can grow, they can wake up into. And I feel like saying that because I can tell as being an outsider, because sometimes I look at what people do and I'm like, why are you so dedicated to whatever? And I realize, it's not even about the thing, like whether it's whatever groups. I don't want to get into the groups. Even with this whole, you guys know I keep talking about this whole mental health thing and how all these disorders for me are just evidence that we don't know how to love people for who they are. Again, we're trying to push them into the box of this is what's normal. The societal cues is normal. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people, the reason why they feel better after they get diagnosed is now they have a community that they're a part of. They have like some kind of identity. Like, so now they get to be a part of that group. And then because they don't want to lose out that group, yeah. And this is the same goes for friendship groups. The same goes for communities. The same goes for everything. Because you don't want to lose out from belonging somewhere, and you take pride in something that's extrinsic rather than intrinsic. Now you're willing to put up with anything, and we're all willing to put up with anything. And we don't want our own groups. I did a whole video on pride about this years ago, like it's an hour and a half long, and I did a whole deep dive into it as a concept, right? And what I realized is that if people don't have the intrinsic pride of like being able to stand on your own physical identity, then people take pride in another group. And therefore, that's why people today were so divisive, because we're always defending our group. Because if our group is proven to be problematic or as proven to have a problem, then we take that as though it's a direct hit upon us, which is something I don't do. That's why people can say something about black people, they can say something about women, they can say something about Generation Z, they can say something about Christians, they can say something about all these groups I technically factor into, but doesn't upset me. I'd rather hear people out, because my sense of self isn't based on any of those things. So for me, those are not direct hits at me, because that's not who that just happens to be categories I fall into. That's not who I am. And I feel like so much of all this stuff, like today with modern day, whatever we call it, especially with the societal etiquettes, it's all about like trying to basically like grab onto whatever you have left with as much as you can and try to be whatever, right? So that you don't lose out or you don't feel left out from whatever group that you've taken your identity in. And I feel like that's what the basis of a lot of societal cues, in a lot of these societal things, these societal rules, these social rules that we have, right? Because it's a lot of like, let's not rock the boat. Let's make sure everybody feels as comfortable as possible, because nobody wants to lose what they have. And that's not a bad thing, to be considerate. But it gets to a point where we're just now, nothing is really real, because like, it's like what I say in this country. I take everything anybody says here with a gallon of salt. If you even use a gallon, maybe a cup would be more, because that's like more of a liquid measurement. With a whole cup of salt, let alone just a pinch, because I'm like, I know in this country no one really says what they really mean, because again, we don't rock the boat. So anybody could be looking at me and saying one thing, and what they're feeling and thinking on the inside is another. And that's another reason why I don't really value relationships, because I'm like, if you can't be honest, why are we here? I'm just talking to a drone. I'm talking to a robot. I'm talking to a curated character. I'm not talking to a human being. So why am I wasting my time? If I want to go and talk to a machine, I'd rather go talk to AI. I've got way more to get out of talking to that machine than to the curated ones, or whatever people think is who I want them to be, or whatever they think they can become in order to impress me, or to think that we're gonna, get along. I'm like, I would actually have more respect for the people who I love this. I've got so many relationships with people now, and it doesn't surprise me that I always end up befriending people that are quite different to how I am. Like, I always end up befriending them because our conversations are more interesting, because we're not all just like, oh, yeah, same, or let's feel sorry for ourselves, or whatever group we take identity in. But like, they have different views to me. I have different views to them. They live a completely different lifestyle to me. I live a completely different lifestyle to them. So like, our relationships are so beneficial in so many ways, because we both get to like have new experiences as a result of each other. We both have interesting conversations. We both add value to each other's lives in a different kinds of way. And I'm like, that's where I like it over here. So I way prefer it over here anyway. And in those relationships, these are busy people. Like, the people that I know that I'm close to, these are people who ain't got time for these societal cues and keeping up with whatever the heck is happening with the jury of the sheep at the moment. You know what I mean? Like how everybody's always watching the same movies and doing the same things, and like right now, everyone's all going to be celebrating Christmas, even though it could be anybody from the strongest atheist to the most devout Christian, like all these things. It's like, that's what society's doing. That's nothing interesting. Like, it's not interesting. It's the same old story. The supermarkets are doing their Christmas adverts, and then there's all this and this and all the songs, and Mariah Carey's about to make another 30 million just on streams of her song alone. And like, it's just like, we just do the same. Like, it's just boring. I guess that's what I've come to. And that's why I say that societal cues are giving me a ball ache, because for the most part, people are all about these societal cues, like how you conduct yourself when you're doing this and doing that. And I'm just like, what is the, what it like? I'm one of those people where people have said that I'm somebody who doesn't like to follow the rules, and I always say that I don't. And what I mean, but that's not a complete sentence. The complete sentence is, I don't like to follow rules that don't make any sense. That's the difference. I'm not just out here like trying to be a rebel, like, or something. I don't like to follow rules that don't make any sense. Sorry. There's a reason why some of us are the ones who can easily do things like maths and science, and other people are struggling. It's because most of this thinking that's happening around here in this world is illogical. Entirely illogical thinking. I can't even remember what it was. Oh yeah, I was listening to, I remember what it was now. That triggered me to think about this. And it's just like, wow, I've worked in a lot of ways, in a lot of things throughout my life. And I kid you not, communication with the average human is by far the most difficult, draining thing ever. I would rather opt to like do so many other things, because it's just like, now we're in, and society is so weak again. Like, sometimes I'll catch myself in a conversation and I might have said something that pricked somebody the wrong way. And that's just because I've decided, I forget that I'm talking to people where you have to over-filter everything, and somebody will take what I say in a certain way. And rather than just asking questions like what I do, before I get upset with people, even if I think someone said something intentionally to hurt my feelings, right? I will question them, and I'll go through a line of questioning to double check exactly what they're trying to say and exactly what they mean, so that if I freak out now, I'm not freaking out for nothing, right? Again, self-control is another thing people don't have in relationships, I've realized, because recently I've decided to stop being so good at not saying what I really think and say things that I really think anyway, which has revealed to me how much more everybody else is doing that, which is so weird, and has been doing that. And it also makes me really uncomfortable, because it's like you're just acting like a loose cannon, and people are loose cannons. That's why I say adults are just like children, but with pride added. Like, the Arrested Development goes crazy, I tend to ask questions. Other people will be immediately offended by just a statement you've made without even listening to what you mean. They assume like they know what you're talking about just because of whatever word or words you've used. And again, we should be understanding by this point, we're all from all over the world. We all have different experiences, and words have different connotations. But it's like this, what I'm saying, it's the immaturity. It's the immaturity that you, as soon as you hear something that makes you uncomfortable or that you dislike, we don't have the tools to deal with things as adults anymore. It's like, oh, we have to, and then I have to now dig deep, take a deep breath to now deal with the freaking adult population. I literally would rather die. But anyways, I'm going to go because I got things to do. I just wanted to quickly pop in here to say that, because I'm so over it. I'm like, when I tell you that, I'm not bothering with any of these dumb societal nothings anymore. I'm really not. I don't care. If you're not at the maturity level where you can understand that, hey, look, we all have lives to live and things to do. Hey, if you have enough free time, enough to be even having a problem about small things, then that's the greatest red flag sign I need to know that you are not supposed to be in my life, because I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to be just getting caught up in nonsense and nothingness. If I don't have time, so if you have time, that means to me you use your time poorly. And I don't want people like that in my life anyway. So that's on that anyways, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go make some food before I have to go back to work and stuff. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. Like, to hell with the societal rules, the social cues, the social this. To hell with it all. If I'm not hurting anybody and I'm not whatever, then I shouldn't be worried. Sometimes nowadays I feel like we've spent so much time trying to make sure people aren't hurt that now we just can't say the truth at all. And we can't be unique. Everything is about being part of a group, being in a box. Oh, what do you do? It's like when people ask you, what do you do for work? That's one of my pet peeves about having relationships with people at the very beginning stages, is that you then get painted with your whole job title as your character. And that's something that only started to happen in the last couple 100 years anyway. Because prior to that, what you did for work, no one cared. It was just what you did to make money. And now it's like people want to ask you, oh, what do you do for work? If I'm meeting somebody new and we're trying to get to know each other and we're socializing, the last thing I want to be talking about is my work and be typecasted as to what kind of person you think I am because of my job. And that's the last thing I'm going to do with you. I want to get to know you as a person. You know what I mean? Unless your career is something that is deeply connected to you as a person that you care about. And even still, I'd rather hear other things that you don't normally get to speak about. This is why I truly understand how people end up in therapy, because there's nowhere. I heard somebody say this in an interview, and I thought this is so true, that like most people rarely have an opportunity where they're able to just sit and talk without being interrupted. That's another thing I've realized. That's one thing why I feel like a lot of people end up telling me stuff, because I can sit there quietly. Even if I'm annoyed, even if I'm not annoyed, whatever. A lot of people struggle with doing that. They struggle with their attention span. They're not even paying attention within 10 seconds that they're around somebody, because you're in this friendship group, not because you actually care about the friends, but because it's fun to take photos and go out and do this and do that, right? And then as soon as this is why I realized so many things about society and like how people just flip the script as soon as they get like a better deal in their life in some way. Like I see this happen all the time with girls when they get in relationships, yeah? How, on the one hand, like, oh, they're all about the girls, they're a girl's girl, whatever. They get into a relationship. And again, I'm not one of these kind of girls. So they enter on a relationship and all of a sudden they've disappeared off the face of the planet. They don't want to, they're all just with the guy now, because obviously being worshipped by a guy is going to trump being worshipped by a little friendship group, right? A little friendship group ain't going to do the same, are they? That's why I say relationships are fickle. Everything is fickle. Everything is fickle and fake and phony, and I hate it here. I hate it here. I truly hate it here. I think it's all so dumb and stupid. Like, I really do. And when I look at the adult population, they just look like a bunch of prideful kids having a tantrum that can't handle anything. Like literally the equivalent of like a toddler before they've learned how to use their words, right? And before they've learned anything. This is what I see. So it's just funny to me. That's what makes it funny, how they think that they in any place to have the audacity to try and talk about my generation as if you guys are not horror. Anyway, on that note, if life's a game, let's play to win. I have so much to say at the moment, you guys. I've just switched into a new headspace where I just don't care anymore. Just don't care. Don't care. And I don't care to coddle people's feelings, because the only people not being coddled is the kids. And I will be championing for the kids. And I'll be bringing fire to the adult population for having the audacity to make every excuse in the book for yourselves, but not even do the work for the kids. And again, because they're codependent, they need you far more than you need them. So why would you care more about them? That doesn't work for how we do relationships in the world. That's not how that works. We have to get more out of a relationship. We have to get more out of it. We have to get what we want. And if we don't, we're not interested. And when we do, that's actually the proof of our love. When I see the difference of the types of parents I've met through my job, like the ones who literally will like die in essence for their children, and the others who barely do anything and act as if they've been asked to go and take on the entirety of another whole country's army by themselves, and then who keep having kids and then keep complaining. It's like, ma'am, you've had 5 kids now. I think you knew what that was. Don't now start to act like, but again, it's because, you and what you're not getting. Well, what you should have done is you should have kept your legs closed. That's what you should have done. So, yeah, I'm going to start saying that to adults to their face as well. with some adults, because I'm like, listen, you need to shut the hell up. And nobody forced you to open your legs, and if they did, well, why don't you not report that to the police? Otherwise, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up and take accountability for your choices, and recognize that, yeah, guess what? You see kids, they're the ones who are the most dependent, and that's why everybody's so stressed, because innately as humans we are selfish. This is why I love the Lord, because he's proven to me that even myself, I have selfish tendencies, because I'm a human. We all do. It's just that most people want to believe, again, you want to put yourself in the category as a good person to feel better about yourself. I don't have to do that, because I don't have to be a better person, because I'm recognized that by doing that I'm deluded, and I'm also not going to be good for those around me. It's actually better if I do love the so-called people around me, that I acknowledge my real nature so that I can improve, rather than just tell myself what I want to hear and do what the world does, which is love just in words. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, in 1 John 3:18, little children, let us love, not just in word, but in deed and in truth. On that note, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.